Yo. How you doing, guys? 1 second. I gotta quickly just send out a link. Where is my stuff? Sorry, guys. 1 second. Trying to find my... Ah, there it is. Found it. Found it. All right. So, the news was crazy today, guys. Holy crap. Absolutely insane what's happening in the media. Now, I tried warning so many people. I tried warning so many people about all of these trad influencers, particularly of the Catholic persuasions, the ones that go into the Catholic sphere, because it's a total LARP. I tried to warn you guys. I tried to warn you, and I was mocked. One second. Sorry about that, guys. It's probably not going to be too cold. So we are just going to throw on our shoes here. We're going to get on a walk here. We're going shopping. If an influencer breathes, they're lying, I've heard. Well, Sarah Stock and the Elijah Schaefer thing. Elijah Schaefer tried putting back together his life. He tried to put back together his life, but it was kind of too little too late, it seems like. It seems like he was trying to get sober, get right with God, and it was just kind of, the wife was over it, his wife was over it, and then, you know, it comes out that he's cheating and all this other stuff, and you just can't blame the woman. At this point, you just can't blame her. Now, that being said, I hope that somehow he is able to get help and maybe salvage his marriage. Maybe. But he definitely needs help. I mean, there's only so much you can do at this point. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm like, my marriage ain't perfect either, but I'm not going around cheating on my wife. You know what I mean? I'm not going to influencer ceremonies and things like that and cheating on my wife. I mean, absolutely unacceptable. That being said, Sarah Stock has much more to blame, in my opinion, for this. One, she knows she's married, and she had an ongoing affair with him. 2, she has a boyfriend. 3, she's LARPing as if she doesn't have problems. At least Elijah Schaefer would be the first to admit that he isn't, you know, he's got problems. She's LARPing as if she doesn't got freaking skeletons in her closet. She's going around calling other women whores and that all of them are fake. And then it comes out that Sarah Stock is banging him. So, you know, it is one of those things that you just can't, there's very few of them that you can trust. I've gotten to know Kongmin Lee over the last few months, and personally, and he's actually genuine, and he admits, he's like, I made mistakes. That's part of the reason why I took a break from content creation and being an influencer, because I wasn't living out the way I should be. And he said I had to get myself right with God before I can expect to be an influencer in this sphere. And he did that, and now he's back, and he's a great guy, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's being forthright with people. He's being honest with people. He's not trying to wear a mask to build it. Sarah Stock was such an obvious psyop. I hate it when people say psyop, and this isn't an offense to you, Edwin. This isn't any offense to you. But psyop suggests that she was planted by someone to... No, she wasn't a plant. She was a gal who took an opportunity before her, and you can't blame her. If I was in Sarah Stock's position, I would take the opportunity to get rich. What, you're telling me I could just sit there and give the most inane, low-tier political opinions that and a bunch of right-wing red pill losers are going to incels and stuff like that? And don't get me wrong, not all incels are losers. I'm just saying, a bunch of guys that spend far too much time online are gonna throw money at me. Who's not gonna take that? Right? You're gonna get, I get to make low tier conservo slop arguments on the internet, and I just get paid a crap ton of money to live off of. Dude, Sarah Stock and people like her with that amount of influence, she could have done anything. She would be filthy rich for it. It's straight cat, dude. It's literally low tier slop to harvest likes and interactions with, and you get to know all the biggest people in the conservative sphere. You have the opportunity to. You have so many opportunities that open up to you, and she biffs it this hard by, essentially sleeping around. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And the thing is that how do none of these people know? How do they not know that this is the consequence? This is what happens all the time. It's constant with these people. How many of these people have to fall from grace by it becomes known that they sleep around at all these conventions and everything? Everyone knows that's what happens at these conventions. Who cares? It's embarrassing that you're talking about it. Hey, cool. You don't need to be here then. You can come back at another live stream when it's something you want to talk about. Bye. Wow, I'm coming into a live stream where the title is explicitly about this situation, and I'm gonna bitch about it. Go away. Freaking dumbass. Let me come to a live stream and then give my opinion about why do I even want to listen to this? Don't listen to it then. Go. You can be gone for 24 hours. Come back when you're feeling better. Good Lord. People are stupid. You don't want to hear my opinion about this stuff. You don't need to listen. It's that simple. I'm just out here getting turtle food. Alright, guys. We gotta get turtle food. Give your opinion then. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, my thought process is that Sarah Stock and all these people, you really shouldn't put too much stock, funny enough. Don't put too much stock into them. You want to kind of steer clear from these types of people. It's never going to turn out good for you. Man, there's not a lot here, is there? And you just don't want to put a lot of stock into what these people have to say. Most of them they stumble into, they're not actually competent, if that makes sense. I don't know who they are. I'm wondering if right track I know Elijah, but I'm not sure who Sarah. Sarah was just, she got famous off of being on Jubilee. Yeah, I mean, we're getting turtle food, guys. Tortoise food. Tortoise. It should be tortoise food. I always say turtle, but they're technically tortoises. I'm trying to find... There's too much moisture in the bag. That tells me that that's not good. I think we gotta go with... It's so expensive. I think we gotta go with this. We'll go with this for now. We don't need to get anything fancy. I feel terrible for his wife and kids. I mean, pray for his family. It's never good. I mean, that's all you can do. It's all you can do is pray for his family. Because he put himself in that situation. He put himself in that situation. Did you use Candace Owens' time machine to make it daytime where I am? Yes. Yes. I used a time machine. Yeah, that's always funny. People always... let's see here. We're gonna go this way. Getting spicy chicken today. It's on sale. All right.
고객님의 안전한 쇼핑을 위하여 CCTV 녹화 중입니다. 구매하신 쿠폰을 스캔하신
Coupon, go there.
쿠폰을 신세계 포인트 정리. 카드를 카드 투입 끝까지 밀어 넣으세요.
Well, it's that simple. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I just gotta get this payment. I gotta pay this out. Come on. There we go. Oh, it takes so long. Come on. There we go. Okay, we got some turtle food, and then we got spicy chicken, guys. Turtle good and spicy chicken. So, all right. So you just got done watching my video on the subject. I like how you bring accountability for everyone involved. Well, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Everybody involved has to be held accountable. You can't hold one person accountable and then just pretend the others weren't part of the situation. They weren't what led to this. All of these people are freaking adults. That's the thing that's what's even more frustrating about all this is they're all damn adults. They're all damn adults. And they all should know better. All of these influencers know better. Like, they all know that there's gonna be a lot of temptations in this sphere, and that there's high expectation. If you're conservative, you're claiming certain moral virtues are the bedrock of your ideology. You're going to have... Well, it's winter here, guys. Normally I go as you guys know, any of you guys who have followed me for a while, normally I go self-harvest a lot of stuff. But it's not spring yet. Once it's spring, I'll be able to go and harvest. I'll go harvesting myself. But yeah, it's just lettuce. Tortoise food, guys. Gotta be specific. Tortoise food. But yeah, it's like really what it comes down to is whether it's Candace Owens, whether it's Ben Shapiro, whether it's any of these people. You have to be above reproach. Because you will burn down to the ground, or you just have to be super honest with your mistakes, right? You have to have like clear clarity with your audience, and these people just don't do it. Sarah Stock, whatever you think of her, she blew up into this, she blew up into fame, and then proceeded to get involved in situations that are just not good for, okay, let's say it's true, which Milo Yiannopoulos says, the audio message that we heard from her, let's say it's true that she got hammered and drunk, and then she slept with a dude, her boss. You were literally one of those people that was going around LARPing and saying that this is how women have to be trad. No women are trad nowadays. You know how much damage these women do when they fall from grace on the message that we're trying to tell other young women? Because you have to be above reproach. Like, I just don't understand how these ladies are not getting it. You do not have this luxury. We don't have a luxury for you to be acting this way. Like, the mainstream media and the leftists will use every single fall from grace to destroy our messaging and to damage the message we can give to young women. What is this look? This looks like this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for right-wingers. You know, not just in America, but all around the world. Because they're modern women, they need to understand tradition is gone. Well, tradition is gone insofar as tradition is gone insofar that you're not going to go back to like a woman sewing at home. Like, you're not going back to 70s. But there is the ability for us to demand more from people. My wife is about as traditional as you can get of a woman in the modern age. She still has certain, you know, modern things that she enjoys and that she advocates for. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that we don't have any accountability structure for these influencer class. The only way we can hold these people accountable and to higher standards is by actually demanding higher from them. Actually demanding higher. Right, but women will not submit to men. Women will submit to men if men start being worthy of being submitted to. The problem is that a lot of men are simple. I'm going to be straight up with you. Men don't ask for that level of respect anymore because they are. A lot of men are degenerate. I mean, Elijah Schaefer. You know, he slept with a woman and he's married. How is that going to convince the average woman in today in modernity to actually submit to men? Right? You burn more when you do these kind of things as an influencer. Any progress that is being made in our spheres of influences are getting burned as a result. Absolutely demolished. Okay. Baby girl, you want spicy chicken? Not right now. I'm talking about later. Okay. Turn on a light. It's not good for you to be sitting in the dark. Let's see here. What are we doing? Women have abandoned their roles. They're completely obedient to their own emotions. Do you think men are fulfilling their role in modernity? No. Both men and women have completely abandoned their roles. Completely, guys. Okay, let's do this. We're just gonna be making up some food here. And this is how easy it is to prepare tortoise food, guys. Done. See that? This will be about 2 more days worth of food here. All right. Let's see here. What do we have people saying? It's social engineering. It's cause men are going to like to fall so far. It's irrelevant, though, if women get to define what masculinity is. No, women aren't defining what a masculinity is. Women aren't defining that. I think, again, you can't be a black pillar or a red pillar in this regard. It's not an either or. It's a both and. Both and women and men have abandoned their duties to each other in modernity. It's not an either or. People getting stuck in these false dialectics. It doesn't help. It doesn't help us actually get to the solution of the problem. It just continues to kick the can down the road. It just kicks the can down the road. Okay, so we're going to show you guys the turtles. So. There we go. There you guys go. I'll take these. And let's be real. At the end of the day, guys, at the end of the day, I said turn on a light. Sorry, my daughter. Hell yeah. Tortoises, not turtles. Tortoises. These are tortoises. So that is Anya, after the character Anya in Spy X Family, and that is Dimitri. For reference, this is about how big Anya is. Dimitri is significantly larger. We actually think Dimitri might be a girl and Anya a boy, but we're not 100% certain. So they just get a boy and a girl name, and we just kind of guessed. Let's see here. Holy Orthodoxy is the only cure. Correct. This is why looking to political influencer class is not going to be healthy for anybody. Political influencer class needs to learn a lesson, and we need to stop giving these people our attention until they prove that they are worthy of being leaders. A good monarch, an aristocratic class, you need to have, the aristocrats are held to standards. And the conservative influencer sphere doesn't have any standards. There's no standards. I once saved a tortoise in Athens from choking on a blade of grass stuck in its nostril, but to be honest, the blade of grass got stuck there because of me while I was feeding it. Yeah, no, tortoises are great pets, guys. Great pets. They're so easy. They're really personable, actually. Very, very personable. They're very personable. They don't cost a ton. That cage, we just got cocoa bark, a little bit of gravel, and some hides, and then they just need to be soaked in water like 2 or 3 times a week when they're babies, and then they eat just you get some like you get some shells and stuff like that, They're not big enough for the skateboard yet. We do have one though. So it's a tortoise, guys. Tortoise, not turtle. Tortoise. All right, come on. Tortoise. Okay. Tortoise. Okay, you need to clean this blanket out here, these pillows, everything needs to be cleaned up. It's not acceptable. You have stuff on this bench. You got the table is a mess. So pause whatever you're doing. You can do it some more later. But pause. Do what I asked, or I'm gonna make you get off. Okay? Do it. You understand? This is unacceptable, David. We want to make your mom nice and happy when she gets home today. So, instructional short on how to take care of baby tortoises. Tortoise. Just came from God Logic's inspiring philosophy stream. God Logic is a great guy and I love what he does, but there's always a hang up when they help convert someone. They can't direct them towards. Yeah, they can't. That's the problem with these kind of pseudo, I don't even want to call them pseudo Orthodox, just there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect for a lot of influencer, of these TikTok debate influencers, is that a lot of them don't have they have nowhere to direct anybody. There's no grounding for them. There's no grounding. Well, find a church you'll grow in. What does that mean? Okay, so what if I feel like I'm growing in a Mormon church? Or what if I feel like I'm growing in a pedophilic Roman trad cat church? Considering this stream is on a trad cat stream, what if they feel this way? Feeling is not what we want guiding ourselves. As we all know, human beings, our feelings are notoriously easy to be manipulated. It does. It's like Ray Comfort. I always had a problem with Ray Comfort. Ray Comfort says, "Hey, you gotta ask Jesus for forgiveness, blah blah blah," and then he goes, "Go find a church, a Bible believing church." What the hell does that even mean? A Bible believing church, right? It just you're throwing them. You're not giving them a good chance of being planted in good soil. They got to be planted in good soil. if you don't plant these people in good soil, they're doomed to failure. Logic get uncomfortable when the question is asked. He hopes he hopes to join. Hope he joins the church. I think he'd be a great in the apologetics role. I think he would be too. The problem is again, is none of these like pseudo Protestant apologists, like inspiring philosophy and God logic, are ever going to give these people the foundation that they need. Hello, Chad. I went down the rabbit hole today, and now I think space is fake and gay. I think going to space is fake and gay. I'm not 100% bought into the people that say that the Earth is like flat or anything like that. But I do think that there is a lot to be said about potentially there being that space exploration itself is a bunch of hooey. And there's strong evidence for it, not just a bunch of conspiracy theory videos, but just the science behind it really weak, much weaker than you'd think when the more you look into it. But that's for another stream, maybe. We're just cutting this up, guys. Hold on. You're a potato. Christian Prince is a goober. He is absolutely a goober. I was thinking about calling into his stuff, but I just realized that those types of people that spend 11 hours obsessing over orthodoxy, they're just not going to be worth your time. They're just not going to be worth the time. I've come to the conclusion that 90% of these debates are not worth it because most of these people are not interested in actually, like, good faith interlocuting. They're just dishonest little rats. The NeedGod.net guys, that engagement that I had with him was pretty revealing that these people are not good faith. You know, the thing is about this whole influencer scandal stuff is that the person that is most harmed by all of this is Sarah Stock's husband and Elijah Schaefer's children. You know? And now they have to be subjected through all of this ridicule in the online space. Right? And that's why, like, if you're going to be an influencer, like, you got to keep your private life private. Like, you really, really, really need to be careful about letting that into the public sphere. Okay, guys. Well, I'm glad that we're having more and more how do you say, I'm just glad that we're having more clergy coming into the online sphere, because I think it's important for clergy to be involved more than anything. More than anything. One second, guys. All right. Turn on the water. 1 second. One second, almost done here. All done. Just got to fill up this water. Let's see here. Maybe unpopular take, but I find space exploration in the cosmos pretty awesome at the end of the day. I think it's awesome insofar that it's like, sure, it happens, maybe, I don't know. But I think it's broadly a waste of time. And I think there's far bigger concerns. And I think that the center of humanity's focus has to be on where we live here and now. Even if space is true, even if it exists, right? It's only like the rest of, like, all of creation is only important insofar that it centers back on either Christ or humans, right? So even if it's true, what's the purpose of space exploration if not for human benefit? If there's no meaningful, useful utility that we gain as humanity from it, then it's really just a waste. In my opinion, it'd be far better to learn how, or for us to actually maximize our ability to use technology, to maximize our outputs and our ability to reuse and recycle and all these other things. It's better for us to do that than waste a lot of time and effort on things that may or may not bear fruit. So that's my 2 cents. All right, guys. I'm very hungry, so we're gonna sit down here. There we go. Hope everyone's doing well. What the heck is going on here? Oh my lord. I hope everyone's doing well. So, everyone's doing well. Bro, you're lucky you got out of the USA. Yeah, I do feel lucky a lot about the fact that I get to live in Korea or outside, really just outside the US in general. The United States is in such a crappy situation. And it's not really, there's nothing much we can do about it. We can just hope. I mean, I didn't have much hope that Trump would be able to turn everything around. I think he's doing a decent job for the most part, actually. I'm not one of these like black billers that thinks Trump's like he's a secret Israeli agent or something like that. I think Trump's a merchant. I think he's got a merchant mentality. And so he's trying to make deals with people that are unreasonable. He tries to make deals with devils, and it just doesn't work. I also think the U.S. Congress and the judiciary are basically just subversive organizations and stuff like that. So I go back to the States regularly, so I know exactly what it's like. It's unfortunate. It really is. It's a sad state of affairs. He's definitely a J. I don't think so. I think people get way too hung up about the Jews. Way too hung up. My critique of people that like obsess over Jewish power and things like that is that by doing so, is that they take away the ability to hold others accountable. Psalms, we don't need dude, I know a lot of women, and a woman having more than 4 or 5 partners is rare, actually. Your average woman is not having 50 plus partners, dude. You need to get out of like the red pill space and like enter into reality a little bit. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just not true. In fact, I would say your average woman has no more than 2 to 3 partners before they get married. It's just, that's the reality. Now, if you're going around and hanging around like big cities where there's a lot of clubs and people are going around clubbing and they're going into college and they're having like a massive hoe phase, maybe. But like that's an exception to the rule. And if that's the case, then you need to get out of that area and go to places that don't have that, right? Get out of Miami, so true. Yeah, Miami is pretty bad. I blame TikTok reel interviews for the streets for this. Yeah, but those all people need to remember those interviews that they do those at. They're always in like the same 4 locations. It's like Las Vegas. It's like Miami. It's like nightlife places that are like, that's all they do is nightlife. Like that'd be like me going to Gangnam or Hyundai or Itaewon. Those are the 3 districts in Seoul that are like clubbing districts. That's like me going to those places and then saying, well, all Korean women are just going around sleeping with foreigners. It's not really the case. You know who lives in Miami? Cubans. Cubans live in Miami. So, yeah, the oh, what is it? Man, it's been something else though. It's been something else. Yeah, dude. So, what did Christ say? What did Christ say? Christ says that if you look at a woman and you lust after her, you've had adultery with her in your heart. Okay? Whether you want to agree with this or not, or whether this is relevant or not, is to you is irrelevant. But your average dude has probably, by that metric, slept with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of women. Okay? Men are not innocent in this modern facade that we have. Men overwhelmingly consume more porn. Now, does that mean women are innocent of consuming porn? No. But we need to be realistic here. The reason men allowed this to happen. We allowed this to happen. We absolutely did. Also, like, your average 18-year-old girl maybe had one or two high school boyfriends. The worst girl in my school when I was growing up, the worst school when I was in high school, 2009 to 2012, roughly. The worst girl in my school, I think, slept with like 10 guys. I mean, that was considered like mind-blowing, right? I think, no, actually there was she wasn't my grade, so it doesn't count. But Contemporary, how you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. So, yeah, we need to be honest with ourselves about the political class, the influencer class that we have. The influencer class can only be held accountable by us. And that means you have to stop consuming content from people that don't deserve to have influence in the culture. You know, what's embarrassing, this should embarrass all of us, is Charlie Kirk was probably one of the most upstanding influencers we had, and he wasn't even that popular. In comparison. Charlie Kirk had a lot of influence in the background, but the Charlie Kirk show was not like pulling in a massive amount of like views compared to someone like, say, Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes is a degenerate. So is a lot of these influencer classes. And I want to add something. I've been vindicated quite a bit about my hot takes about various people. Vindicated on Candace Owens, who turned out to be a weirdo psychopath. Time machine. Charlie Kirk was really a ghost or something like that, or like a time traveler. What? Cuckoo. I was one of the people saying, I think too many people are jumping the gun on Steven Crowder when that whole video came out of him getting pissed at his wife and it leaked to the public. And I said, guys, I think we're all reacting a little too harshly on Steven. We don't know all the information, blah, blah, blah. Candace Owens and the whole Daily Wire crew, except for some of them like Matt Walsh, were out there condemning Stephen and just ripping him apart, ripping him a new one. And I said, guys, we're jumping on this. Lauren Southern and all those people were going out and just trying to destroy his reputation. I said we should be skeptical of that. Vindicated. Look what ended up happening to all of those people that tried to tear him a new one. It ended up being that Stephen was a victim of a vindictive woman who wanted a divorce. And she was trying to reputationally destroy him so she could have custody of the kids. So, people that react too quickly to events, it tends to be a bad idea. This is why we should be very careful and skeptical about people that make certain claims about the Epstein stuff. There are people that are going to be vindicated, hardcore vindicated with the Epstein stuff. But there are a lot of people that are jumping the gun on a lot of stuff. So this needs to be taken with a grain of salt. And see, Charlie came to me in a dream and told me Candace was crazy. So true. Good one. And what's embarrassing is we conservatives let these people become major influencers. Sarah Stock, and this just boggles my mind. She had one good showing. She had one good showing on Jubilee one time. And she did a mildly good job. I guess she did okay. In fact, maybe that'll be a good review to see if she even really made good arguments. I might do that video. That might be a fun video. And people just threw a platform for her. Fortunately, I have no stakes in these sort of internet people. My views are a bit extreme. Yeah, see, I'm just glad I'm a monarchist at the end of the day. I don't have to deal with any of these, my democracy, I'm a conservative. I don't have to deal with any of that. Because most of them are moderates compared to me. And frankly, how many monarchist influencers are out there right now that are getting embarrassed on the public stage? Not many. But Republic Nicholai, that's a good argument. I'm sorry, hello. I didn't even think about that. But we have republics nowadays, and republics are so much better, really. Historically, they were shit shows. But, whatever people want to say, I don't know. That's their prerogative. Ugh, it's just embarrassing. Can't wait to get this constant Democratic Republic of heaven. Yeah. I can't wait till the Prime Minister, Jesus Christ, comes back and returns to allow us to vote on who gets to go to heaven and hell. He leads the process. We don't need the King of Kings. King of Kings, that's a tyrant. That's a tyrant title. How dare it? Libertarian? I'm a libertarian. We don't believe in that king nonsense, Jesus. I didn't vote for you, Jesus. This is Texas. And in Texas, we don't believe in none of that nonsense. Yes, that's true. He hasn't polled the Thomists. He hasn't polled the Thomists and asked their opinion about the essence energies distinction. If English was good enough for us, it's good enough for Jesus. So true. Jesus spoke. Everyone knows that Jesus spoke Texan. You know what's funny is how Texas turned out to be one of the worst ran states out of all the red states. And it's funny enough, it was purple, like toss-up state Florida that had so many controversial issues that ended up being the true red bastion of America. Florida was a toss-up for years, and it ended up being far better for that state as a result because eventually one side just won out on the argument. Hey man, don't talk bad about Texas. Dude, I'll talk bad about Texas all day long. Texas is a crapshoot. It's a poorly ran state. You guys have, you guys always say how based and cowboy and rugged cowboy you are, but you guys have some of the worst, most liberal areas of the country. Austin, Dallas, Houston, just horribly, horribly ran cities. You have some of the worst protections for men in the law. Your family court system is a disaster. You guys allowed, Greg Abbott did nothing to intercede in the family court system that was screwing over a father that had his 2 twin sons taken from him by a psychotic mother and was forcing one of the sons to transition. And they just sat there and watched an Orthodox father get his children taken away from him and ran off to California where they can go and control the place. Hey man, Tampa is a great city. Tampa is not blue at all. It is deep red. Tampa is a deep red city. It's a big city too. It's not a small city. You're hurting my Texas pride over here, and you deserve it. Listen, I'm from Minnesota. You can't hurt my pride. You guys can't hurt my pride. Dude, I've acknowledged, the thing is, you guys can't hurt me because I'm from Minnesota, where, I mean, can you get much worse right now? I mean, like my entire, like, pride in my state was destroyed long ago. You guys can't hurt me. I'm immune. I'm immune. There's nothing you can do to me. And by the way, Texas, and this is going to hurt you guys too. Contemporary Compendium, you can clip this too. Southern food, overrated. It's overrated. Texas cuisine, overrated. Oh, you guys do a good barbecue? You know what? I can go get a good barbecue here down the street in Korea too. There's nothing unique about Texan barbecue you can't get anywhere else in the world. Other than the fact that you have cheap beef. Your beef is cheap. You can get it for unsubscribe. There is nothing unique about Southern cuisine that, like, you go and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is like life-changing. It's because you guys have comfort food. It's comfort food, but that's also why you guys are all fat. That's why you guys are all fat. Because it's all comfort food. And comfort food is great if you want to get fat. Korean barbecue is not even like really Korean food. It's just like good social eating. That's what Korean barbecue is. Korean barbecue is social eating. It's not meant to be like the best of Korean cuisine. Korean cuisine is like takgalbi, it's bibimbap, it's kimbap, it's kalguksu, it's rice-based dish, you know, things like that. And you're not going to offend me about Korean food either, because it ain't my food. It's my wife's food. You might offend her. But for me, no. I like Korean food. It's very good. How good is my Korean? It's mixed. I can't speak it super well, but I can understand a good amount. I'd rather be overweight and happy than fit and sad. See, that's where you're wrong, man. Being fit makes you much happier, actually. You're much happier. People. I mean, the science on this is like pretty clear. The more in shape you are, the less likely you are to have habitual bouts of depression and other things like that. I'm sorry, Texas brothers. I think you guys are one of the best. Listen. I'm not saying Texas is like the worst. You know what's worse? Minnesota. You know what's worse? California. Living in those states has to be a hell on earth. It's horrible. Okay, but cuisine, Southern cuisine is held up by a single thing. Okay? It's held up by the fact that there's a lot of Southern people that are so insufferable about how good their food is that they even to debate them is like you're just asking everyone and their mother to like swamp you, and no one wants to deal with that. Because Southern people, in their very nature, have massive pride issues because they lost the Civil War. And so ever since then, you can't say anything against the South without them like rallying together and saying, well, actually, guys, we're really based and cool and great. And like, honestly, guys, like, we're actually just awesome. And like, we're not coping and seething at all. Like, I swear. Like, have you ever tried to talk like rationally with a Southern person about the Civil War and say, you know what, you guys, like the lost cause, the whole lost cause narrative is not historically accurate. The whole like, oh, we were fighting for individual rights and states' rights, that wasn't entirely accurate either. Like, oh, well, it was a war of northern aggression. That wasn't entirely true either. Like this whole like narrative that they've built up, like this mythical South, is just not true. And then when you like, you're just like, and by the way, they also claim the Wild West. Like the South just gets to claim the Wild West when actually most of the Wild West was the Midwest, Northern Midwest. There were many reasons for the Civil War, but to pretend slavery wasn't a driving factor is just to be dishonest. It was a driving factor. I got Fort Sumter and Fort Johnson right in my backyard over here. First shots of the Civil War, correct. And the Civil War is a tragedy. Like, I really hate it that the South tries to make it out to be the North was just these big bad devil men, when the fact of the matter is neither side was, it was a product of the elite on both sides. President Johnson had many opportunities to come to the negotiating table with Lincoln, and he refused. The South had many opportunities to come to the negotiating table. The North, for what it's worth, towards the end of the war, saw that they were winning, and they're like, well, we don't need to negotiate no more, we're winning. And that's true. Bim bim bop. Bing bim bop. Bing bim bop. I'm always having trouble with that one, actually. Yo, 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 what's up? People saying it was just a voluntary union and involuntary union of states, people that say that I don't think are being entirely true. Really what it comes down to is that the driving factor was slavery was the driver for why those states wanted to be independent, okay? But really, the Midwest was the true Wild West. Like places like Wyoming. Wyoming is the real Wild West, not Texas. General Lee's birthday was not too long ago. Great leader. General Lee was okay. I'm really gonna get in trouble. You guys want to get me in trouble? You guys really want to get in trouble? You guys want me to really like stir up the Southern bros and get them upset? Profound Beam, is that really what you want me to do right now? All right, we're gonna do a 1s in the chat if you want me to really stir up the hornet's nest, or 2 in the chat if you don't want me to stir up the hornet's nest. 1s in the chats for me stirring it up. 2s in the chats for if you want me to, you don't want me to. All right, so since you guys decided to troll, I'm going to troll you guys. So we're going with 1. General Lee was not that great of a general. Massively overhyped. His battles were mediocre at best. He didn't press his advantage all throughout the war. He didn't understand the position he was in. He continually refused to work with his other generals in other fronts because he felt like his precious Virginia was the only thing that mattered in the war, and therefore he actually damaged the South's ability to actually negotiate with the North as a result of his wounded ego, that he knew what was best for the war. General Grant outplayed Lee at every step of the way when he entered the theater there. Lee was given a much bigger, kind of mythos, primarily because really bad Northern generals were at play, and not because of his genius on the battlefield. General Grant won 3 different theaters of war in 3 very different environments, all 3 very different strategic layouts, and he completely dominated all 3. And when he came against Lee, he outmaneuvered Lee at every step of the way. And there's just there's no way to debate this historically. You can go all day long and huff and puff. Grant knew exactly what his strengths were, and he knew exactly what General Lee's weaknesses were, and Lee played into those weaknesses every step of the way. He wasted troops on campaigns that were never going to bear fruit. He wasted troops, and he refused to work with his fellow generals and refused to take advice from his subordinates when necessary, and made grave strategic errors on multiple occasions. Okay, there we go. Stonewall Jackson is clapping in his grave right now. Stonewall Jackson would agree with me. Stonewall Jackson would agree with me because he's an honest person. And General Lee would agree with me when he looks at it from a kind of, he takes a step back and assesses it on that level. Lee's marching on Mercurio right now. I know. I was going to piss off the Southern bros with this one. But that's not to say, now I want to make this clear. That's not to say that General Lee was a bad general. He was just overhyped. The Southern bros, I'll call them. Southern bros have like created this mythos around him that makes him this legendary mythical general who's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. There are tons of European generals that were his contemporary that could walk circles around Lee, okay? Sherman Pertalt to 200 IQ. Dude, General Sherman's decision to march to the sea, well, actually it was Grant, but Sherman's march to the sea was brilliant. No one can argue with that. It was an absolute brilliant. It cut the Confederacy supply lines. It completely destroyed their morale. Lee had more defectors and people that left his army just to go check back and make sure and like try and salvage their crops and their lands and their plantations and other things like that. They defected en masse after that. Sherman didn't commit a war crime. I mean, my goodness. People over-dramatize that. You know who burned down Atlanta? Wasn't Sherman. He just didn't prevent it. It wasn't Sherman. Sherman didn't burn down Atlanta. I know that's shocking to you guys. The history is really clear on this. Sherman did not burn it down. He just didn't stop it from burning. I have tears in my nose right now. Some boys rise up. I know you guys are so sensitive. I know you guys are so sensitive. So sensitive. Oh, you precious boys. Yes, Lee was a very good general. Very good. He lost the war, but he's very good. Listen, again, I want to make it clear. Lee was a competent general. He just wasn't the mythical, legendary figure that they make him out to be. He was a competent general that had a bit too big of an ego. He didn't see the war in a larger strategic sense, and this is why Grant outplayed him. Grant outplayed him strictly because Grant saw the strengths of the Union Army and the weaknesses of the South, and he knew he could play to those advantages and completely outmaneuver them. That's why the North won. That's why the South got a raw end of the deal. The South would have had much stronger position of negotiations had Lee stopped having such an aggressive campaign. It's that simple. Me trying not to crash out right now. You're slandering Grace. I'm complimenting him by being realistic about his accomplishments and criticizing where it's justified to criticize him. Lee was a great general. He just wasn't the greatest general of the Civil War. He was probably top 5, maybe top 10. He was probably like maybe in the 6-7 range in terms of just sheer strategic and tactical brilliance. There were generals in Lee's army that were better than Lee tactically. Jackson was a better general in terms of field commander than Lee was a field commander. Okay? Jackson, and by the way, talk about mythical heroes. Stonewall Jackson. The number 1 general of the Civil War, without a doubt, there's no debate on this, is Grant. Grant was the top general of the Civil War. Period. End of story. Number 2, it's hard to say. It's probably a Confederate, but it's not Lee. I'd have to think on that harder. But definitely in the top 3-ish. Sherman's a top general too, but he just wasn't high enough of a general to be like really considered. To be fair, the Union has some of the best generals of the Civil War, but also some of the worst. Like there's really no middle ground. Like there's either, if you're a Union general in the Civil War, you're either one of the greats or you're one of the worst. Like there's no middle ground. These criticisms coming from an alleged Vikings fan, listen. There's no ability. There's zero ability for you to offend me as a Minnesotan fan. There's just like as a Minnesotan, there's no way. Like you're not gonna offend me. I already know my state sucks. It's my fault for being here. Don't trust influencers, but what are you doing? Laugh aloud. Well, fair enough. I wouldn't call myself an influencer. But, I mean, maybe I am. I guess so. I don't know. Back in those days, war generals, nowadays we have people kicking in taillights and throwing snowballs at SUVs. How far we've fallen. So true. That is a good point, Casey. Is it true slavery did actually start the war? Slavery was the catalyst for the argument for states' rights. Okay? That's really what it comes down to. Now, does that mean that was the end-all, be-all? No, but all you have to do is read Johnson. Read President Johnson. Read the senators of the South and the Confederate States. Slavery was very important to them. Like, just go read it. All right, guys, read what they say about it. It's not even that difficult. I think I need to go to the dentist tomorrow for all this cringe rage. I don't think anyone... I don't think the average Confederate soldier gave two shits about slavery, frankly. The average Confederate soldier. I'm not saying none of them, but I just don't think they really cared that much. But it is a myth. It is a myth to say that there was nothing to do with slavery. Oh, the North didn't go to free the slaves. Absolutely not. But that was the end result, regardless of whether you agreed with the North's reasoning or not. I mean, that wasn't their reasoning either. But it was the North was overwhelmingly pro. Now, this is what I will say: the South was stupid for even getting all hung up about slavery in the first place. Slavery was on the way out in the South. Even they were losing popularity. It's very likely that slavery would have ended in the South and the North within 10 to 15 years, anyways. Let alone the fact that you have to throw a hissy fit and try and leave the Union over that. And the biggest problem with the South was that they left the Union without going through the due process. There was a process for leaving the Union. They didn't even go through that due process. And then they went to go and seize federal land. The North was actually still trying to negotiate with the South until those forts and those federal lands were seized. So let's be fair here. The war became about slavery because Lincoln, and we're going to be honest here, Lincoln needed a moral rallying cry for the North. He needed a reason to drum up public support to continue the war. There's no hiding that. Like, I don't even know why people need to hide that. There's no reason to hide it. That's not a bad thing for Lincoln to have done, and it's not a good thing for him to have done. It's a kind of a net neutral. At the end of the day, it was a morally good thing for Lincoln to do. The South should be able to leave the Union, though. We should have that right. I don't think so. I think the idea, like, federalism was growing, even in the southern states, by the way. Even in the southern states, they were pretty hypocritical about when to pick and choose these things. They weren't all about states' rights either. They actually took away states' rights because technically the South, each state had control over their respective armies. And yet, Johnson, towards the end of the war, saw the necessity to stop and centralize the command structure. So even the South wasn't really doing that big. So, Joe, question, but how big of a part did Jews play? Way less of a factor than you'd think. Again, Jewish influence didn't really come to a extreme head in Europe and in the Americas until like the late 1800s. And that's when it really started becoming caustic because the merchant class and globalization was growing at a rapid pace. And that's what gave them a lot of undue influence. But the Civil War, it was still kind of antebellum. There was still a lot of like international funding and stuff like that was kind of going away. And this idea that the North was uniquely affected by by stuff. The South was being funded by a lot of this stuff too. The South was being funded by parties, and the North was being funded by parties. A lot of people got rich in Europe because of the Civil War from both sides. From both sides. We here in Texas have been trying to leave the Union? Nah, but you guys never have, like, realistically. Realistically, you guys have never tried to meaningfully change or leave the Union? You guys never really meaningfully did. And that's, it is what it is. It is what it is. And by the way, Texas wouldn't do that well by itself. Texas is an extremely corrupt state. Like, people, just look into it. Look into it. Texas is an extremely corrupt state.
It's always been said that the South, the war is complicated, and the North, the South. Let's not play that game. The North and the South try and like the South, like they drummed up this entire lost cause narrative to try and push it that way, and then the North says, "Oh, it's all about slavery." Both sides are wrong on this. Both sides are wrong on it, and that's what we could like. That see, that's the thing. We can be honest now. Like it's 2026. We can be honest. We don't need to like have this like weird like fascination with this. Nicholai, change the stream title to "Crapping All Over Texas and the South." You know what? So I will say this. You choose the country, you choose the region, I can crap on it. Like New Yorkers, oh, we're so hard. Like New Yorkers were so hard, and like you don't mess with New York. Dude, that died like like 40 years ago. No one cares about like, oh, you New Yorkers are so tough. Oh yeah, like New York strong and all that stuff. It's like you guys like literally let a bunch of like the Italians and the Irish and all the different groups in New York. They just let that state go to shit. Someone says Alabama. Alabama is full of people that have like. Alabama's entirely sustained by like greasy, fat food and and upset people. Nice, Nick. I wish you would own up. I knew you had turtles onto slaves. That's so true. California is such low tier, though. Southern California is like just filled to the brim with homosexuals. I mean, that's all I need to say, right? I mean, and it's the thing is it's not even like the cool type of homosexual that's like, yeah, I can get along with that guy fine. It's like the cringy homosexuals, right? It's like the type of homosexual that is like, how do you say? One, they're like a Valley Girl homosexual, but two, they're like Latinos, and even their Latinos aren't masculine Latinos. They're not like the butch, like mustached Latino who's kind of like a rancher. It's like flaming homosexual, like Valley Girl energy homosexual. So North California is the only redeeming factor for the whole state, and even then, like they can't even be bothered to like vote properly. So like, who cares? Everyone's like, Northern Cali is great. I mean, I guess the only thing that's redeeming about California is the fact that Father Seraphim Rose lived there. Flamboyant TikTok type, so true. Someone mentioned Israel. Israel's so easy to dunk on. I mean, it's the gay capital of the world. Like, you take California, Tel Aviv is like leagues worse, right? And then you add into the fact that, you know, all of the geopolitical bullshit. Like, is there like how it's not difficult to hate on Israel? It's not difficult to smash on Israel. So it's like low tier. Now, Armenians talk about a people with a victim complex. You think the Southern bros have a victim complex? Like, oh, the war of northern aggression and all this. Man, dude, you can't, like, Armenians are like some of the most like, oh, we suffer so much. Like no one else in this history of the world has ever suffered like we've suffered. Everything about this is the worst thing ever. The world ignores as we suffer. And then it's just like, you just look into like the background of a lot of this, and it's like, you guys are just kind of incompetent. And then like like they act like victims, and then they go to other people's countries, and they're the ones that own, like, they set up all these like fraudulent, like these fraudulent businesses, and they act very Jewy in how they do business, and it's like, you guys have no right to complain at this point. Oh, the OOs are insufferably bad victim. They're always the victim. They never do anything wrong. They're innocent of they're always innocent. They're absolutely insufferable. That's not the word. Absolutely insufferable. So, the Armenian women in Glendale are very clearly operated on as crazy. Yeah, and like they don't self-police their community at all. Like, oh, we're very traditional, and then they have some of the most like vapid women on the planet come from these communities. Do you live in a tall building? I do. I live on the 8th floor. Actually, I can just show you guys. Hold on. Show you. I'm very high up. Very high up. I'll show you guys around. We're moving soon. I'll show you guys where the new apartment's gonna be later. Right now, I gotta clean up a little bit, and then I can go do a walk with you guys here soon. We're on the 8th floor right now. We're gonna be living on the 21st floor of a new building, a new complex. So let's see here. They're always dripped out in Gucci and Prada. It's so true. Thanks for the tortoise stream. So true, guys. Actually, we're gonna show you guys the tortoises again here. Hold on. I'll show you guys them again. They might be sleeping. They typically eat and then go to sleep right away. They're not a super active. They're not super active like all the time. They're active like throughout the day at separate points. Okay, there's one. Where's the other one? The other one's hiding right there. They ate a good amount. You can always see where they've eaten. You can see he decided to chomp right down the middle there. Along there, you can see all the shapes of their beaks. I don't know why they always eat along the edges, but they do that. So, can you keep them in your backyard? It depends on your weather. So here it gets too cold for them. You'd have to hibernate them and all this stuff, and that's a pain in the ass. But is it a Seleucida tortoise? No. So those ones get huge. No, we have they're either Hermans or Greek. We don't know 100%. Pretty sure they're Hermans. Pretty sure they're Hermans tortoises, which they don't get big. Hermans tortoises maybe get like 1.5 feet. Like they'll only get about this big. Like a male will be like this big, and a female will get like this big. So they don't get that big. This one is about 2 years old. So I'll show you. This is Dimitri. He's about 2 years old. And as you can see, that's how big he is in my hand. So hold on, guys. All right. So yeah, they're really easy to take care of. You can just literally go walking outside with like a little plastic bag, and you can just harvest dandelions. They love dandelion leaves, dandelion flower heads. They love dandelion root. They eat this plant over here I have. Hold on. I've been growing some of this for them. I harvested it recently, so it looks a little sad. But they eat all kinds of weeds. Like they're a weed eating species, so they eat a lot of weeds. So you can just like go walking outside your house, harvest dandelion. You can harvest plantain. You can harvest. Yeah, I live in Korea. There's dandelions everywhere. To be fair, dandelions like a ubiquitous. It's a ubiquitous plant. It's literally, I don't know anywhere in the world that there's not at least some amount of dandelion. So the huge ones, Herman's tortoise, like St. Herman's. Yes, correct, like St. Herman's. Does Korea get earthquakes like Japan? They can, but they're typically very, very light and very rare and infrequent. Very rare. Korea doesn't really get any. Korea doesn't really get any bad like natural disasters. They really don't. They don't have volcanoes. They don't have. They don't get earthquakes. They don't get. They can get typhoons, but it's typically like by the time it reaches them, it's almost always just a. It's almost always just like a big storm. Yeah, it's just they don't get anything here. They don't really get flooding. I mean, they can flood like any country, but it's just not common. Except for the occasional Mongol invasion. So true. The thing Korea's had to deal with in its history and its existence is being between many different major powers like Japan, China, Mongols, etc., etc. Like, they just have to deal with, like, all of the people around them. That's, like, what they've had to deal with their entire history, which can be a natural disaster in of itself. So, whether it's the Japanese, the Chinese, or the Mongols, it's never been particularly good for them. So, good point. Is it expensive there? No. It's dirt cheap here. Compared to the States, not even close. If you live in Seoul, yeah. Seoul is extremely expensive. But if you live outside of Seoul, it's dirt cheap to live here. Dirt cheap. Our new apartment that we're moving to, our mortgage with interest is going to be $650, and then we pay another $500 for principal if we want. It's dirt cheap, and we own it, and we live in a nice area, and it's safe, you know. So yeah. And again, we chose, like, it would only have been $500 a month, but we've chosen to pay extra amount on the principal because we want to pay it off extra fast. Moving right now, laugh aloud. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. The cost of living here is absolutely batshit. And the US dollar, especially if you can work remotely, which I do work remotely here. If you can work remotely, it's so much cheaper. And then, like, Healthcare, dirt cheap here, like ridiculously dirt cheap here. Food, all that stuff. So that's half my mortgage, and I have a cheap house. I know, right? And by the way, we're choosing to pay that much. Normally, our mortgage would only be $500 a month. $500. It's part of the reason why I live here. I mean, also the other reason, it's safe. The people are really kind. The food is great. The lifestyle is good. It's comfortable. The people are really nice. And my wife and my daughter's Korean, and my wife is Korean. So, I mean, that's why I live out here, is mostly because of them. But even if they were not, it would be very tempting to live here. Very tempting. Because of just the cost of living alone. The safety, it's such low crime. Like, people, like, you don't realize this when you live in the States or in countries that have, unfortunately, crime. But you don't realize it until you experience a place like Korea or even like Japan, where it's just so safe. And you don't have to, like, you're not worried about your family. Tips on learning Korean, Nicholai. Just go and use Pimsleur. So do 1 month of Pimsleur, okay? 30 days, 30 minutes a day for 30 days. 30 minutes a day for 30 days. And if you have to, sometimes you have to repeat a lesson. If you don't feel like you mastered it, you should do 2 times a day, so an hour max. But if you can do an hour, 30 minutes to an hour a day, every day for Korean, you'll be conversational within a month for the basics, And then if you do Korean 2 in Pimsleur, within 2 months, you should be at a relatively decent conversational level. Now, add into the fact that Hangul only takes about a day to learn. Their alphabet is super easy. It's phonetic. So I highly recommend Pimsleur. Highly recommend it. Pay the monthly subscription. Pay for 2 months, and you'll be soaring. After that, though, here's where it's important. You actually have to use it. So what does that mean? Watch K-dramas. Watch those kinds of things. Make some Korean friends. Go get some apps where you actually have to practice this stuff. Speak out loud. Listen to some Korean music. There's all kinds of Korean genres besides K-pop that you can listen to. Listen to that music. Sing after them. You gotta actually use it. That was my biggest mistake, and part of the reason why I don't speak as well as I do, and why I'm currently I'm getting a tutor and I'm learning now, is because I actually have to use it. My work, I don't really ever have to use it, and so I have to put effort into actually going out of my way to use it when I can. And my wife is not helpful because my wife is too impatient. So, what does it mean to be a true warrior? I don't even know what that means. A true warrior is to be somebody who is virtuous in their defense of others. There you go. Nicholai, do you know IU? Yes, I do. IU is she's actually really talented. She's not really K-pop in the same way that people think of K-pop boy groups. She's actually really talented. She's got a great voice, and she's drop dead gorgeous. So I mean, she's got that for her. But she's a great singer. Yep. She was actually one of my first introductions to Korea broadly, besides my wife. Like, when I started first, like, exploring Korea and Korean music, I was like, oh, who is this? And I listened to her. She's great. Very, very talented. K-dramas to understand the language through theatrics, similar to learning Greeks. Yes, that's important. And that's why I say, start with Pimsleur, get those first month or two down, then you transition over to using the language,
learning how it applies, listening to how it applies in like real conversations, and before you'll know it, you'll be speaking Korean well enough to actually work here. That's one thing people they underestimate. You could probably be at a level where you can actually work here in Korea within 6 months. Within 6 months, if you actually work hard at it. You actually have to work hard at it. So that's something I didn't do for many years, which I'm now having to play catch up on. So highly recommended you guys don't do that if you're going to learn it. I hate K-pop, but she's pretty good. Well, the thing is people forget that Korea has so many genres besides like traditional K-pop. So there's a lot of great indie artists. Hyoko is a really great alternative band. Hyohoh. Hyokyo is actually a really great band. If you're like into alternative rock. They have some really great stuff that they've produced over the years. So, does Korea have their own version of country music? Not really. No, they have a folksy, like they have a traditional folky music, but they don't have like modern country music. They don't really have that, but they do have like a traditional music that is like more of like a 70s. It was like developed in the 60s and 70s, and it's got this it's very uniquely Korean, very uniquely Korean.
Tips for learning Greek. You're asking the wrong guy. I am terrible at Greek. And in fact, while I always recommend people learn a little bit of Greek just so that they can like know the basics of some of the theological language, especially if you're trying to study theology, at the end of the day, I don't recommend everybody do it because you can get distracted trying to learn the Greek rather than actually just studying what's already available to you. You know. Okay. Fantastic.
All right, folks. Well, guys, I don't have much else to say right now. I appreciate y'all showing up for my rants about various random topics. Southern bros, you guys will recover. My heart goes out to you. I'm really sorry that you guys lost 150 years ago. I mean, it must be rough losing sleep over that. And don't worry, at some point in the future, I will do an entire video for you guys dedicated solely to your guys' myth and legend, General Lee, so that you guys can learn about this and whatnot. But I'm just teasing, guys. I'm just teasing. South took an L today. So true. So many L's. No, you guys are good. I love my Southern bros, but I mean, sometimes you guys got to get humbled. Sometimes you guys need a little bit of a humbling. That's what a good bro does. A good bro is going to humble you guys just a little bit. So we're going to do that. I will show you guys around tomorrow. So around this time, probably a little bit earlier, maybe 3 hours. Okay, whatever time it is for you right now, maybe like 3 or 4 hours sooner. Maybe even sooner than that. So tomorrow I am planning on doing a longer walk stream, and you guys can ask me all sorts of questions. I'll show you guys around Korea a little bit. That'll be a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If there is anything that you want me to respond to in a video format, nothing too long. Don't be like sending me like 6-hour long videos or anything like that. But if you have shorter videos that you want me to do a response, link it down below.
God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. And please let me know if there's anything you guys need help with. God bless.